Hey everyone, this is rant number 2 for the evening and for the overall tally. What I'm going to rant about is a really nice word that I enjoy called methodology. I think methodology is nice because it's not just talking about the method for something. It's sort of this meta. It's up one tier from that, one level, one layer. And it's not like, oh, I did it this way and you did it this way and we're different and it's the same but it's different. It's actually looking at the overall sculpture of how you even arrived at a method. And you can examine the ways in which what I do may be distinct from what you do. And it's something that I find really helpful for, any discussion about academic music or how people throughout the world do music, how children do music in ways that are detrimental, methodologies that are not conducive to childhood development, or to whatever stage they're in. Methodologies that involve, inquiry-based aesthetics, holding deep questions purposefully and seeing what new risks can emerge from that place of questioning. So methodologies here, I'm in the kitchen, thinking about food, thinking about the different ways that I've grown over the last few years to cook food I enjoy that nourishes me. Because what else would you want from music? Music that's delicious for you personally, intimately. You're taking it in and you're literally creating your body out of it. You're metabolizing it. You're using it to get through the day. What a beautiful thing for music to be. So the question here is, what is a methodology? Let's talk about it with cooking. The first thing I did with cooking was when I was like 9, I made a recipe for my mom. Veggie burger salad. I knew she was a vegetarian. And I knew that veggie burgers, you could just crumble them and put them in salad. Very primitive, but improvised. And I just did it. And I gave it her as a recipe for her birthday. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna cook. I don't know what I was thinking. I was 9, but she liked it. And she'd tell stories about it. So something about it worked. Something about it was a risk. Something about it was creative. And we liked that. So for me, this methodology, the first methodology I took was kind of just shot in the dark. Improvising. Just having ideas. Just going for it. Now, the new methodology that I took on when I was 20, almost 21, and I took a semester off from college, I started doing recipes. I would read a recipe and do whatever the method said. So you can cook different food with different methods. If you have a Vitamix, there's certain options. If you have different ingredients, there'll be methods to get a nice thing out of that. Now, the methodology is the fact that you're using a recipe that's telling you a method directly that, perhaps it's very exact. It's not that simply having a recipe means that it's a fixed methodology. It's that, if it's a methodology where it's exactly named and numbered and it's how many milliliters, that's one way to do it. There's also this idea that you could just kind of have this informally passed down thing where the methodology is someone teaches you in person. And, mom's chickpea fritters, she just kind of did this and you kind of see it and you look around the kitchen and you just get familiar with it. It's like this interpersonal thing. Now, another methodology would be improvising, where you're just in there, you're just doing it. Now, within these, there's different methods, but there's also subgroups of different methodologies. You could, have hummus. You could be improvising to taste. You could have a hummus and just want to make it taste better. There's a wonderful book, Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, that gives you principles for improvising in the kitchen. It's such a wonderful text. It's a great book. And it really helped refine my sense of cooking because it met me where I needed to be, which is I don't love being tied down to a recipe. I love using them as inspiration, but I thrive as an improviser. I studied classical piano in college and it was great, and I thrive as an improviser. So learning, what your overall meta preferred methodology is great. Trying out new methods within that, different subgroups of it, But then also trying new methodologies that can help unblock your creativity. That can help you take new risks, get out of your comfort zone, and grow more, which is the goal. The goal is growth. The goal is new learning, it's growth. And the way that we get there is by committing and taking risks. These are, some of the principles of improvisation that I'll eventually lay out here. So this idea of a methodology, when we look at music, there's different ways of arriving at music. Many musics are from real traditional lineages. I feel one of the big issues in musical methodologies is that we're stuck in academic pursuits of it. That, we kind of developed our American institutions in the 20th century and different, schools of thought of how to do it right. White guys teaching jazz, and there was a methodology that was easily fit into our model of schooling, which, as we know, is bells from factories, industrial revolution. It's of the past. It's not of the future. And all true art is of the future, even as it's from the past and draws from the lineage, draws from this verticality of worshiping the great artists. Even though that can seem problematic if you're in a really postmodern mindset, it's like that's a real thing. We're all drawn to the work of like true genius. And, we may disagree as to what that is, but we all look back and say, wow, this person got it right. And that makes me want to do this thing. So it's important to respect tradition. And it could be hundreds of years of tradition, or it could be, say 20 years if it's in a new medium. If you're in the 80s and it's synthesizers, yeah, you respect the greats, but it's new. It's a new method. Maybe the methodology shares something in common because it's difficult to invent a totally new methodology. It's further up. It's the next level up. So if your methodology is improvising, taking what you know, boom, 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 combining it and finding a new thing, great. That's your methodology in the kitchen. It's your methodology in music. So the method of, taking a new recipe, getting to know it, finding that method, seeing what makes the curator of that recipe, what gets them off, what makes their signature thing, that's great. Now that's information for you the next time that you're uncertain of what to do, that you want to pull a certain move, you can, some finishing salt at the end, whatever it is. Now, a real question for students of music, of musicians, is how does the musician impart, a really refined sense of the methodology onto the student? It's not like, here's how you do this thing. Here's how you kick a kick drum. What's the, meta methodology? What is the disposition? The parent disposition to offer to the student that brings them into their intimate child's play with the instrument, so that they become a student of their true self versus, a student of, here's how you do this thing like a mechanical, unfeeling robot. How do you become reborn into your true inner artist as you're a student of a tradition, of a discipline? And these are real questions. These are, questions that I don't see enough educators, people on YouTube, people in general grappling with. They're not easy questions to deal with, frankly. They're not easy questions to deal with the rate of speech I'm doing. They really take comprehension, contemplation, slowness, new questions, different frames than we're used to. So they're really things that, a contemplative methodology overall will help you arrive at these new places. Now, if you don't appreciate what, differences in methodology, you may think that there's one good way to do it. You have to think really hard about it. Well, you can feel with your body. You can use your body. You can practice not knowing and just do whatever your body wants. Granted, that can seem problematic in a larger social context. Yes. You can kind of just be in the moment. I'm just going to do what I want to do with these eggs and we'll see what happens. That's a valid way of working, different methodologies. So experiment with methodology, get out of your comfort zone, understand that you have a way of working and that way may work for you across disciplines. So don't confuse the method for the methodology. Don't confuse who you are as an artist, as a creator with the method, we are, if anything, our disposition, our personality is closer to the methodology than it is to the actual method or the actual thing that we create. Our personality is further back from the creation itself. Our true self is behind the personality. So, stay true to your methodology, discover and rediscover how it is you enjoy to create, and play with that. Find a deep sense of play, and as a teacher for your students, welcome your students into their own methodology in a deep way. If they're smart and intellectual, give them some of that, expand them, tease them to do other things. Methodologies rant number 2. See you all later. We tend to